Since we're talking about it.
Oh yes.
We talk a little later, Wait, Kitty, did you finish? No.
Yeah, I skimmed the last two, but
Okay.
I finished.
I'm going to join and rejoin really quick because everyone's frozen.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna be eating while we talk.
Me too. I'm eating some sweet potato fries.
What
Just waiting
flavor?
for it to melt a little bit.
Gelato. What flavor is it? Can you?
It's cold brew.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Dairy free
have
because
that?
I'm kind of weird with dairy.
Mm.
It's so good if you like coffee ice cream.
I brought my tea.
I have like tea.
Canela.
Mine is stress relief. My favorite. Lavender something.
Nice.
Mine is elderberry and echinacea.
What did we think of the first section? I give it a 5.
I'm like this.
I liked it. I love books like this.
Uh-huh.
Was everybody shookest when her veil was like, and it was.
I
suspected.
Though he was being so like clingy, but not. So I was like, he likes her.
I was like, ah.
I feel like they kept saying Tommy, 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 and I'm like, it's not gonna be Tommy.
Yeah, I was like, she's too obsessed with it trying to be him.
The dad is friends with the dad, so they work together, and I don't know. I'm like,
there's a red herring.
I loved it. I was like, oh my god.
I like how Michael's trying to like say his love, and then she's just like.
Which usually it's the opposite, where the guy doesn't seem as interested. But I like that it's switched around and he's over here all lovey-dovey. And she's like, you a-hole. What did you just do to my life? It was planned out for me. I wanted to be in the field and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow.
But then he's like, you won't have to change. He's like, all I want is you.
You can have
Corny.
your dreams and I'll just dream of you. I was like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, it reminded me of Katniss and Peeta, where he's like all trying to be lovey-dovey, and she's like, I can't even focus on you right now.
I was gonna say that. It reminds me of that. She reminds me of Katniss. Like a lot. She's like Katniss's cousin.
Yeah.
She also reminds me of Jo March and Lori from Little Women. She's very independent, kind of tomboyish, and if you've seen the movie, Lori's kind of obsessed with her, but they're just not the right match.
Like he wants to take care of her, but she wants to do her own thing and be respected for that.
Nice. I do want to read classics. Maybe I'll add that one.
Little Women's really good. I read it almost every Christmas time.
I just remember it being so thick when I was younger, and I was like, I like to read, but that's too big for me. And I never went back.
I'll propose it. I want us to read a classic.
I also, this kind of disgusts me when the males are the ones talking about the magic, and they're like, oh my gosh, or like the father that was giving, I don't know, it was disgusting. It kind of gave me vibes of like my Dark Vanessa.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. It's interesting.
This line now that you mentioned that, I highlighted this line where it says, I remember my lessons. I think she's talking to her mom. She's like, I say as I wring my hands in my lap, legs spread, arms flat, and eyes to God. And I'm just like,
that line. I haven't watched all of Handmaid's Tale, and I have the book, but I kind of know the story, and that reminded me of that, where they're just there, and the guy is over here, like, trying to get a baby, and I'm just like, yo. And they just keep saying, was it?
Not a baby, they want sons.
Well, yes, and which is exactly the same as this. Like I said, I haven't watched it, but I was making so many different noises that I was describing the book to my younger sister, and she's like, that's like Handmaid's Tale. And I'm like, they did have a quote from Handmaid's Tale. So I'm like, I think I'm gonna read it and watch
It's
it.
very similar. Yeah, I think you'll like it. If you like this, you'll like The Handmaid's Tale for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not like you don't need to watch the TV show. The book is really good, and it's not like it's you don't have to watch like 10 hours. You can just read the book or whatever, and you get a really good story and you get the gist of it. So
reasons why I haven't watched it because it's so long.
I thought the first season was really good and the second season was okay, and then I stopped watching. It's an intense show.
Yeah.
I'm actually watching this other show right now called Yellow Jackets on Showtime. Have you guys heard of that at all? Because it's like so much like this book. Like
my mom told me to watch it.
It's this soccer team in the 90s they crashed on an island and they got stuck there. It's like a female soccer team, and they kind of had to fend for themselves, and all this crazy stuff happened. And they I don't want to like go too into it, but like really messed up stuff happened. And then like there's in present day, like it's like a mystery kind of slight horror thing, slight like coming of age stuff, but like that whole vibe of like Lord of the Flies kind of situation with women and feminism, and I don't know, like it was reminding me a lot of the show a lot too. So I was just wondering if any of you had seen it, but
no, not yet.
It's on Showtime or Star?
Showtime.
Showtime.
Yeah, I just looked it up, and just with the images, it looks a lot like what I imagine with this book. Even there's a tree in the woods, and they're just wow.
Goodness gracious, when they described the tree, they thought it was like twigs and stuff, and they're like, wait a minute, it's not.
Yeah, that was
like,
gross.
Creepy.
That's intense. So intense.
It's so interesting that like, I mean, the magic is basically a metaphor for like your femininity and your it's not magic, it's like your power as a woman is your magic. And they make you go into the situation where everyone turns against each other and everyone like ends up hating each other, and that's how you kill the magic, because you don't trust your fellow females, you don't like trust yourself, and you just end up like just believing that like everyone's your enemy and no one works together, and that's how your magic dies, because you're just like got to go home and be a wife, and all the other women did all these terrible things to you, so you're isolated and you're powerless in that way.
I was also thinking they still could run away. Sorry, go ahead, Crystal.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just like thinking out loud.
They could run away, they could try to escape, but then because I was like, why don't they just do that? But they have their siblings to think about.
That's sad.
That's like North Korea.
It's just like Katniss again, kind of like sacrificing herself for Prim as well at the beginning of the Hunger Games.
I just kept thinking about that, Paula, when you said that. I was like, I'm like, I wonder if it's like it's not even magic, but they're thinking that they have magical powers, right? And then there's like that one girl that's like, oh, I can make you do things by looking at you. She's full of shit. I was like, we all know she's full of shit, but then she's probably starting to believe, like, oh my God, she did it when I was thinking about it. So it's interesting.
Like
I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like it's I feel like it's actually like your magic is like maybe you getting self-confidence, or you like believing in yourself, or you like embracing yourself and working together, or working, like that's your magic. And that's what this patriarchal society is afraid of, because if the women like believed in their own power and banded together, then their entire system fails.
Yeah.
So that's why they make them go through this whole ritual to like, and then they add in that other stuff, right? About like, if you escape, your sister will go in. If you do this, like,
It makes sense, because on the front cover it says survive together or die alone. So I wonder if they're gonna like find a way to band together, or what's gonna happen. Maybe I think Trini will make it back, but like maybe everyone else will die and she has to like round up them already still in the village and try to unite them. I don't know, because she's definitely a leader. I think.
I just noticed the red ribbon is blood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't even realize the ribbon was there. And I was like, wait, hold on. Huh.
Wait, where on the cover?
Yeah. It's like in between.
Oh my god.
I didn't
Yeah.
notice that.
I was like, what
Well,
is
that just makes the
that?
cover look creepy.
That's so cool.
And tyranny doesn't it mean like lord and master?
Oh, I didn't even.
I think I looked it up when I started reading.
I love when they do stuff like that.
Noble.
They play with words. Let's see. Master.
Master, I didn't know that.
What do you guys think about the like ears, fingers, and like them drinking blood? Like what is
Oh, for youth?
Mm-hmm.
Like for
Yeah.
the youth, like to stay young? Because she was saying how her mom had blood,
yeah.
like blood stained lips.
And some of the other older women
Mm.
smelled like iron.
It's definitely reminiscent of like vampirism. Like I feel like that comes out a lot in Dracula, and the author of Dracula, Bram Stoker, could have been inspired by Vlad the Impaler, who when he like killed and pillaged all these people, like he put their bodies and body parts like on a bunch of sticks, kind of like of the tree. And there was another countess called Lady Bathory or something who was obsessed with staying young, and I think she was famous for taking like baths in milk, but then also like baths in the blood of virgin girls or something like that. And that's why they called her the Blood Countess. So like stuff like this has truly happened in history.
And is it just the men like feeding these lies to women so that they not only like are scared but also are just like drinking each other's blood to put each other against each other even more?
But then why would her mom be doing it? Like, why would her mom be drinking blood?
To get a boy, to get a son, right? Because they think it's magic.
Because she did say, oh, I think it's your, like, she's like, I saw my dad, right? Her dad was the one that got it.
Because I think he is doing
Elizabeth
it through
Bathory.
like. I understood. At first, I was confused. I thought that she saw him doing the deed with the mom, and I was like, okay, obviously she's gonna be like traumatized or whatever. But then we find out that it's like they have the jar of like a girl's body part, and then we find out that the mom seems to be drinking it or eating it or whatever. So I feel like they're trying to use it like magic. And since I think there was a line that said that she still hadn't given a son. Oh, another month without a son. I wonder if her season is coming to an end. So like they give them a timeline to get a boy. And if they don't, then what happened to that? I forgot her name, but that one lady right before the veiling like whole event
died.
Well, her husband was like, oh, she was like in her sleep or something like that. Like she was
Levitating.
talking in her sleep. Yeah.
I think part of it was she didn't have a son or she never provided a son, and then obviously the husband like added that whole like, oh, and she was dreaming and saying these things.
But that's
So I
not the
think it
first
was-
time, because I think this guy's had like multiple wives, right?
Yeah, that to me is
Disgusting, man.
Yeah.
And how old are these girls that are going into the year?
16.
16.
It's a
16.
grace year.
So this old ass man wanted a 16-year-old girl. That's gross.
Yeah, it's super gross.
And I think there was an even earlier story where they said that the guy just said similar to this, where that the girl was saying some magic things or like witch, and then they pretty much killed her, and then he ended up being with like a widow, right, or something like that.
Yeah,
He
I
never
think they
married
killed the
someone
husband, and then they purposely tried to get the wife killed so they could be together.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Yeah, there you go. And I'm like, obviously the men have the power, and it sucks because the girls are just, I'll do whatever, I'm just the wife, I'm just here to provide a son. And I'm like, nasty.
In that way, the book is almost like the Scarlet Letter to, or like the Puritan times when anybody, like your neighbor looks at you the wrong way, oh, you can be accused of witchcraft.
which was another tool to control women.
Mm-hmm.
I think Katie is right that like it's another way, like by having the women like want to obtain these body parts because they think that it's going to bring them some like ability to not be outcast or not be, you know, have someone replace them, is like another reason for them to like send their children into this ceremony, because it's like the ceremony is what brings them these parts, I guess.
Yeah, then their
So-
stockpile would dry.
What do you think is happening with, like, what was her name? Betsy? The poachers are, I think, just the village men.
I was thinking, because I'm like,
Oh,
she sees her dad going into the forest, like,
Mhm.
often. She's like, going to the outskirts, and she thinks he's sleeping with, like, other women or whatever. I was like, no, this fool's out there killing girls.
So do they even exist? Like, are they real?
I think it's like one of those things where they're saying they're outside, but they're not.
What if the
Plus-
poacher that she saw the blade to in the eyes, what if it was her dad?
Oh, that makes sense.
I
because
didn't
he
think about
survived.
that, but that could be like he does go out there regularly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that
And he
might be how they
spared
get the
her.
pieces so quickly.
And that's why she didn't die. Wow.
Or even maybe it's the young men or the men who have wives. Like this is their, I don't know, hunting season.
Their way of releasing,
Oh, God.
I don't know, some hormones, testosterone. Eek.
So
The
then you have
first
the
girl
old
that
people.
dies, oh my God. Well, we don't know she died, right? We don't know that she died. She just ran into the woods.
Just heard her scream.
Yeah, they did hear her going through stuff. Oh my god.
But we didn't see, so
That's also true.
I wonder if the poacher thing is like overblown and it's all like maybe they're actually trying to help.
Yeah.
Like in the Hunger Games, where yeah. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, there's some movie or something where they make you believe, but it's like the Hunger Games where you're kind of you're trapped in this little game or whatever, and but you're not. I mean, people are dying, but maybe in this case they're not, and they're just disappearing and they're escaping or living a better life or something.
Did you guys ever see The Village?
Oh, that movie is scary to me.
Very similar, where it's like this society that looks like they're in the colonial era, and their little town is scared of these beasts, and like they're all trapped here because of these beasts. They can't go into the forest. I won't say any more, but it's very similar to that.
It's a Shyamalan movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I mean, if you like, it's kind of spooky. It's kind of disturbing a little bit. But I watched it when I was in like 6th grade and I loved it. So
That's the only movie that has actually scared me when I watched it. Because I think I had a few nightmares about it. But I could see like The Exorcist and I don't get scared.
By the way, Julie told me that her twins have been throwing up, so that's why she's not here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pobrecitas.
They're sick.
They have their hands full.
Oh. I hope they're okay. It's nothing too serious.
And did they throw Tierney's stuff over the fence towards the end there?
I was a bit confused about that too, because they all grabbed their supplies except her. She can't find them, but I don't think. I guess we can assume that they did
Yeah,
that.
because she says, as I'm searching for my bundle, out of the corner of my eye, I see something sail over the fence, and then she turns and she sees like the girls giggling.
Mm.
So I think they like threw her stuff over so she wouldn't have any supplies.
I thought they had just like stolen it.
Oh, maybe.
but her
But
friend
that's-
is
but
there.
that's kinda
He's on the other
worse if they
side.
just
I feel like
threw
he would
it.
throw it over, throw it back.
Mm-hmm.
He did say, he's like, I told you how to watch over you.
Oh yeah, because that other guy's there.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Starts with an H.
I missed the story
Hans?
in the beginning, where
Hans.
like how, like I know they like know each other and they're friendly, but because he's older. But I
I
kind of
think
missed.
he like was in love with this girl that went into the, I'm sorry, what's the name? The thing.
The Gracier.
The Gracier.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah,
went to the Gracier and she like never came back. And then he decided, or no, I'm sorry. No, she got married off to someone, right?
Yeah.
And then he wanted to become a guard to be able to be close to her. But then she died?
Mhm.
She never
Someone-
came back.
And
Yeah,
to
never
become a
came back.
guard, they have to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
like
that's it.
their genitals snipped
Yeah,
off. So it's
I
just
think they have
tragic
to
for
become
him.
a eunuch like in Game of Thrones if you watch that show.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is Game of Thrones too. There's just so much. I like it.
Whoever wrote this book was really into like the series.
But
Yeah,
how do
so
you guys
then-
feel about it being so similar to so many other things?
But it's still good. Like sometimes I read books and I'm like, oh, this is too similar to that other thing that I know, but I like this one so far.
Yeah, it
Interesting.
doesn't feel like, it like it is derivative, but it doesn't feel derivative. Like it feels
Mhm.
like it's using it as an influence rather than
Mhm.
just like copying it.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. It doesn't feel like a copy and paste where you're just like, okay, I already read this or I already heard about it or seen it that I'm not interested.
I like how she honored, or I guess, because June is the main character of Handmaid's Tale, and then
Mhm.
the colors, and then there's an Aunt Linny, which just reminded me of Aunt Lydia from the Handmaid's Tale.
Mm,
And then like the religious aspect.
Yeah, that's definitely there. I definitely recommend Handmaid's Tale if you guys like this one. And I think
I
there's
think
more
it's
than one,
also-
right?
they made a sequel to Handmaid's Tale, like a book, and
Mhm.
I read it. It's all right. You don't even need to read it. The
Okay.
original is very, very
It's
good
so
on its
good.
own.
Mhm.
Wait, so they did the original and then more books based on the show?
Just no. Well, I think actually Margaret Atwood was slightly influenced by the show because
Okay.
she only released it last year, but it does not follow the show necessarily. It's like her
Oh.
own continuation. It's just one book
Yeah.
called I forget what it's called.
Wow.
Again, it was okay. I don't think it's like a necessary read though. It's just more like interesting.
Mm.
It's called The Testaments.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
The
But the show
interesting.
it's based off of book or no?
It's based off of the book, but I think that unintentionally she was sort of, because in the show they continue it past the first season is the first book, and then they go and invent their own
Okay.
story.
Okay.
There's some things in the book that are kind of like similar to the show, but it's meant to be like its own thing.
Mm. Okay. Oh, well, thank you for that insight. I was confused.
What happened between Greta and Kirsten with the lithograph? I kind of lost myself.
I feel
Yeah,
like maybe
what
it
does
was-
that mean? I was so confused by that.
I feel like maybe she was found with like some graphic or explicit content maybe that wasn't allowed because the lithograph's like a print, I think, like a piece of a book or something. A method of printing originally based on the immiscibility of oil and water. So like some sort of picture that she had, but it must have been something they considered obscene to get her into big trouble like that.
I think Greta and Kirsten were like a couple.
That's what I thought.
Mm,
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I
I never
completely-
thought. Well,
I
that's
completely
Darlene popped
ignored
in.
the
because
list.
I never would have thought that. I mean, I thought. I don't know. That confused me too.
Yeah. I ignored the lithograph thing and I was like,
Yeah.
they called it dirty because they probably like caught them doing some stuff. You know how they mentioned they saw another like
Experimenting.
girl and I was like, oh,
Mhm.
these teens.
I mean,
Obviously they're
Kirsten
gonna,
gets around, right? According to
Yeah.
people.
mhm.
Yeah.
pero pues, I don't know. It did give me those vibes, so maybe it is true.
Mhm.
That would be like a juicy little detail to then come out during this
Very
grace
very
year.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Because
Do
didn't they
know
say
how to
that?
read? Did they ever talk about that yet? Did they teach them how to read?
Oh.
Hmm.
I don't know.
They didn't really talk about schooling.
In The Handmaid's Tale, they're not allowed to read.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, the older people like know how, but like younger people are not taught. The women, not the men.
Yeah.
Maybe the Bible and that's it. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. They don't really mention what they do before the grace year.
Mm-mm.
Younger girls, they just seem like they're just like, you know, playing around, following their mom's orders. Huh.
What were
It's
you gonna
kind
say,
of
Daily?
impressive that like they actually haven't said a lot, but like it's very intriguing and you still can kind of picture it and you like feel like it's a like it makes sense as like a world, even though she's actually not said that much yet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
The mom kind of reminds me of the mom from our last book.
Who does?
That mom, Tyranny's mom,
Oh, okay.
and Belle's mom.
Mm.
A little bit.
Yeah, because she views her daughter as like a means to an end.
Yeah. Although the mom also said, Tyranny's mom, like you can't trust anyone, not even yourself. So I think she's on the side that she's been brainwashed that women are against women.
Mm-hmm.
And that maybe secretly she might be part of this little society of these women with the flowers. Like Mary, that woman who got hung.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those flowers must mean something.
Yeah.
Let's think of what the number. It has 5 petals, right? And it's red. Red could symbolize like blood or lust, and then 5, like I think like the star, like the pentagram, maybe. So maybe it's like they're on the opposite of the religious end. I don't know.
Well, I know at the beginning, Tyranny was looking at a flower, and it's a petal for the Gracier girls. It's a petal for, like, it was talking about all the different groups of women in her society.
Oh, right. I remember. Yeah, flowers can have a lot of symbolism.
Maybe it's like the mark of the resistance, like in we're just talking about all these other books. Like in Hunger Games with the
Yeah,
Mockingjay.
I was about to the Mockingjay and all that. Yeah, I like her as a character. And then when I found out she's a middle child, I'm like, let me see if she has like the middle child syndrome. But I don't think she does.
I wonder if there'll be a sequel because it's such a complex society. Like by the end of the book, I know it's kind of early to say it, but like she can't dismantle this whole idea less than 400 pages. Because like The Handmaid's Tale, there's so many layers outside of just getting out of the compound that she's in.
Mm-hmm.
And it was open-ended
Mm-hmm.
in that book. Like they didn't resolve it
Mm-hmm.
really, except for there was like an epilogue, but
That's interesting. There's reading group discussion questions.
All the books have them, yeah.
I didn't know.
But
I was
sometimes
just
they
like,
have spoilers. Be careful.
no, I know. I try not to. I just read like about the flowers and how do you think nature like affects the setting and blah blah blah.
Oh, I was wondering about the time era that this book might be taking place in.
Does it take place in an alternate past or is this our possible future?
Yeah,
I feel like
because
it's the future.
yeah.
Didn't they say something about like we used to speak other languages before, but now we all speak English?
I think so.
So maybe it's like there was like an apocalyptic thing that happened, and then everyone kind of like gathered in one place, and then they started this new society that was very.
They tried to start over or something. Maybe that's why they're so extreme with the rules.
And her dad whispered something in his native tongue. I meant to like look it up, but I never did.
Which that kind of reminds me of. I haven't read it in a million years, but did you ever read The Giver?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like they're like in their right, like he has to. It's like they each have their own society or whatever, and he escapes, then finds the other society.
Yeah, that's a good book too. Mm-hmm. This book reminds me of 1984 a little bit too.
Kirsten reminds me of one of the like, you know, in Lord of the Flies, there was kind of the better of the two boys and the worst. She reminds me of the worst one, but I also kind of like her because she's like, we're the only gods here. She doesn't care about the men back at home. She's living. She's thriving in this environment.
She's thriving in the chaos.
Yes.
She knows because she knows everyone's scared of her.
Yeah.
As of right now, everyone's scared of her.
I wonder if she had like a coach to tell her to like do all these things, you know, to start striking fear in the other girls. Maybe she has a mentor in one of the other ladies or something. Or maybe her mom told her that to
Well, her
survive.
family's wealthy
Mhm.
compared to Tierney, right? Remember
Yeah.
how they were saying like her dress was a hand-me-down and Kirsten's was like brand new, and it was like completely like amazing compared to the
I
hand-me-down.
feel like that's another similarity to the Hunger Games with the different districts and all their different skills. And then the ones from 1 and 2 were always like trained to win, like people would volunteer, you know, whereas in the
Yeah.
poorer ones, it's like
Yeah.
you would get extra tickets in the bowl and you would get like extra food for your family or something, you know?
I wonder if, you know, if they are able to band together, if she can like transition from a villain to like a anti-hero, because clearly she has some persuasive and leadership qualities. She's just using it right now to put everyone else down and instill fear, but it could be used for better things if she had the right perspective.
Yeah.
But
That's
maybe
what I
she's
was
also
thinking.
like a true villain and she'll have to be, you know, eliminated. I don't know.
Bitch, bye.
I'm thinking like if I was the author and I was like, well, my readers are probably not going to like this girl, but that's like against what, like the separating of women and like judging her.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's going to come out on top. Hopefully.
That would be more interesting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, Tierney had a dream about ending the grace year. Do you think that's gonna happen?
I hope so. I hope that's what it's building towards.
Like a little foreshadow.
I'm not sure if it will happen in this book because like the whole year is going to be there, right? And I mean, I'm just assuming because of the title of the book that the book will end when the year ends. So maybe we won't necessarily see when she comes back to the village. But I would like that to happen.
I can see it leaving us on a cliffhanger because it is the grace year. Oh, damn.
Because like the Hunger Game books, it was for the first 2.
Yeah.
It was every Hunger Games. And I kind of left the middle.
I think though that, I mean, not always, but I feel like now when, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if this is a new author or not, but like when they option these books and they know it's going to be a series, they'll like include that in the marketing and like on the like who knows, maybe she'll decide to write another one, but like if it's like a planned series, I feel like they normally say that like on the cover or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me wonder if it's like meant to be a complete
Standalone.
story. Yeah.
That's true. And I mean, it was 2019. If she was thinking about doing it as a series, I feel like she would have already released them, released at least one. She hasn't, so
Sometimes it takes a long time though to write.
that's yeah. I think it depends on the author. If they, because who was it? I think we were talking about Stephen King, right? For what is that?
Misery, and then Rarity. I think that's just like books that we had where there were authors written to the stories.
No,
Duplicate authors. No?
Are you thinking of George R.R. Martin? Like from Game of Thrones? Because yeah, he's never gonna finish that.
oh yeah.
And I've just given up on that. I read all the books and clearly I'll never read another one.
Those are big books.
Yeah. They also got worse. Like they were really good and then the last two were like just okay.
That's the thing with series. Some go very well and like every book, but I feel like the first one is always, you can't beat that one. And I feel like maybe that might be the case with this, since there hasn't been anything, or unless we haven't looked up to see if there's a series or not.
I'll do it right now.
You're gonna look it up?
Yeah.
What if you get spoilers?
I'll like look at it from far away.
Just look for context clues.
She really wants it to be like The Handmaid's Tale. I feel like she would make it a single story.
I think.
Or like Lord of the Flies, you know, that's also a single story.
Or maybe it'll be like they can't maybe dismantle this whole program.
Wait, I'm too afraid of seeing spoilers. I'm gonna stop.
If they dismantle the whole program this year, they might not be able to, but they could maybe tell in their revolt the girls next year what to expect instead of it being a secret.
I have an idea. I'm gonna look her up on Goodreads to see like what's listed under her name.
Oh, that's clever.
So I don't have to like see what it's about.
And the reviews say contain spoilers sometimes, so that's good.
But I like that Goodreads tells you, and it blocks it. I was like, may contain, and I'm like, bless, because I would have kept reading it.
Did we have a book? Was it the last book that we thought like the end happened too quickly in comparison to the rest of the book? I wonder if that will happen here, because then what if like it's the grace year, because you know Judith had said like you said it like divides well into 5 parts, like maybe the last part will be where something gets dismantled.
Yeah, the last season, I think, is the last 2 seasons were pretty short compared to obviously the beginning. I mean, in the beginning they're trying to give you more information, so I get it, but I'm kind of scared that they might do that because it's not that big, like the last 2 seasons.
Yeah,
like I don't think they're gonna end it in the middle. There's no way. What would happen in the end? You know, rush through the years? I don't think so.
So she hasn't done anything since 2019. She did write a series before though with 2 books, but it says like book 1, book 2. And then she's written some that are just like standalone. But yeah, this is her latest book. She hasn't written anything since 2019, and it doesn't list anything as upcoming.
Good to know.
There's a lot of work to do in these next pages.
And it looks like she has like 2016, 2015, 2018, but then like nothing since then.
So it would have come out if it was going to be there.
Unless the pandemic, like, you know, you never know.
That's what I was wondering.
With COVID.
I feel like some authors may have taken advantage and would have been writing like some of the previous ones. What was it?
Like the It Happened One Summer woman.
Exactly. Yeah, like those little cutesy little ones,
Mhm.
fast reads. But I feel like this one, maybe she was the opposite, and she's like, I'm super affected mentally, and I can't do it, and I don't want to, and I'm not gonna, like,
Yeah.
like I'm relaxing, not gonna work.
In a way, I feel like it's more complex to set up a book like this one though, because you're creating like the whole society itself too. So maybe it takes longer than if it's like set in contemporary real world life.
This is a very good Valentine's Day book.
Mm-hmm.
A little anti-men.
Yeah.
Did Black History Month it's because it's Black History Month in February, but we kind of did it in January. So
Yeah.
A heart in a jar.
Yeah, she has
There's a
it.
jar emoji.
Maybe a soda can.
Here's the veil. Let me see how to scroll more.
I would like to see this as a movie.
I would like to as well.
I hope they make it more gritty than they did the Hunger Games.
Mm-hmm.
Hunger Games was a little too painted.
Well, the Hunger Games gets like pretty dark, and I feel like that wasn't shown in the movies. And I was talking about this with someone at my school because they decided to just like pull the Hunger Games books because one time like one of my students was walking around with a Hunger Games book, and I was like, are you actually like reading this? Because when I was reading it in middle school, it scared me, and I didn't understand it just because I'd never read a book like that before. And I was like, these kids are all killing each other. I don't get it. Then I read it again when I was older, and I was like, oh, okay, I understand it now. But it's just interesting.
Texas just banned a whole bunch of books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt weird about them pulling it, but then I was like, well, they are much younger, like kids, so I don't know. I don't know what to think. But I was just like, okay, well, I'm not in charge of that. But at the
I
same
think the
time,
other
like,
thing about the movie that was like kind of like in general, I didn't really like the last two movies, but I liked the first two okay. But I think the book was so much more jarring because they're like kids. But in the movie, like they cast 20-year-olds and you don't feel as like scared for them, and it doesn't feel quite as like terrifying, and you know.
They're grown
That's a
adults,
good point.
and you forget that they're children.
Yeah, because how old was Katniss when she
like 16?
Yeah.
15?
Just about this age, right? And somewhere younger, right? Like Rue. But even her, I feel like they made her seem older in the movies. But I'm not sure because I imagined her as like a tiny little kid.
And they didn't really make the deaths of even like the other kids in the Hunger Games that emotional. I felt like it was just gonna go.
Or gory. I felt like they were pretty graphic in their description as well.
But they had to sell it, so.
Well, they made so many of those like dystopian book adaptations in like the 2010s that now I feel like they're like averse to making them, and maybe more will make like a TV series instead or something. So I wonder if they would ever make this now, because it's like, I don't know,
in a way.
Stuff always comes back, but like remember they were just making like every single dystopian
like the Maze Runner
book.
as well.
Yeah.
I haven't read those, but I remember those.
Like when there was vampires and werewolves, and then I went to that. Yeah, it's just little phases. I think with fashion too. It's just little phases that come back. Will she end up having children?
I think she
I
will.
don't know.
With Michael.
Michael is too
Like,
dramatic.
Team Michael?
Team Michael, oh my
Jane,
gosh.
Jane the Virgin, and I was like, I was not Team Michael, but maybe for this one.
You're Team Raphael?
Yes.
Team
Raphael.
Can't Be Friends.
I think Darlene was also Team Michael.
Hell yeah.
She just put it on mute.
I was Team Raphael, but then I stopped watching, so I don't know what happened.
Oh.
Team Raphael. Team Raphael.
I hope
I hate how they like made him have like
Okay, Team Peter or Team what's his face? I
Team
forget
Peter
the
all
name.
the way. Team Peter.
PETA.
Or
I was
you-
Team PETA.
I can't unsee that scene where it goes Peter about Peter from what is it? What's that one show? The fat guy.
Mhm.
But he goes,
what?
well, because his
Oh,
name is Peter,
Family
but then he's
Guy?
like, it's like they
Like
call him
Family
Oh.
Guy?
Yeah, is it Family Guy?
Yeah.
PETA? Like,
Yeah, because that's literally how his wife says.
yeah, that's funny. I never thought about that.
Oh man.
Every time I hear that, that's what I think. I'm just like,
PETA.
huh?
Oh my god.
Wow. Oh,
Might be a
man.
hot take, but I kind of wish Katniss didn't end up with anybody.
Mm.
Because
Or, like,
Katniss ended up having children and she didn't want to.
Yeah, I didn't
Mhm.
like that. I didn't think that was authentic to her character.
Mm-hmm.
She should have been like Haymitch and said.
It's like she kind of just gave in and she's like, yeah, I'll have kids.
Mm-hmm.
To make you happy, Peter. To make you happy. I mean, I was happy for them, but at the same time, I was like, oh.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. Do you guys think 101 or so pages is okay?
It was a
Yeah.
fast read for me, yeah. And the
I was
font,
like, oh,
font
yeah,
was
take
big.
Okay, cool. So the
I'm not
next
gonna lie, I
section-
thought I still had an extra day. Today,
Got
I was like,
confused
when I
too.
saw on Instagram, I was like, I thought it was tomorrow. I was like, because I read a certain amount of pages every day, and I was like, I would have read on time for tomorrow.
Yeah, I was doing my reading. I think I did most of it Sunday. And then yesterday I just needed 20 pages. And I was like, well, I was at the gym on the freaking, that's my thing now. I'm at the gym on a freaking bike and I'm with a book. And I was like, I don't care if I look like a freaking nerd or I don't care. And that's how I do it. And I was like, this was nice. I should do this more often. And then I was like, shoot, I'm technically doing it last minute because it's not Wednesday. It's tomorrow. And I was like, oh, shoot.
It seemed like it seemed like still enough days, but somehow from Wednesday to Tuesday, I think it went fast for some reason.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
probably because I didn't get my book until Friday, and then I was busy on the weekend, so I was like, I'll read Monday. But then we'll have staff meetings on Monday, so I was like, I was reading a bit each day too. I finished last night, but somehow it seemed more of a crunch. But I think this week will be better because now we'll have like the extra day as well.
Yeah, same. I don't even have a book. I got Kindle because I was like, oh, I'm probably not gonna join because I didn't know we'd switch the day until recently.
I told you.
Yeah, during the weekend. It was like already Saturday and I was like, oh shit, I guess I am gonna be a part of it.
Well,
So I appreciate it. Thank you for changing the date. It really is
Now
very
you got to
nice.
stick to it, Eileen.
I was
Oh, I know.
you have to
She
come
told
out
me.
and say
Yeah,
it.
she's like, well, now you can't miss it. I'm like, I know. That's why I got Kindle.
I was like,
It's okay, it happens.
I don't want to switch it just for her, but I guess. Here we go. I guess the next section, go 104 pages. So 102 to 206, if it was accurate last time. If it
Okay.
wasn't,
Looks pretty accurate.
oh yeah, you got the book too. Do you, all of you guys have the paperback?
I have the hardback.
But is it the
Mm.
same? Oh, that is so pretty.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
the
hold
same.
Why
Hold
is
yours
it
closer,
prettier?
Katie.
Huh?
I want to see yours. It looks like a different shade of pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. It looks darker. I mean, I don't know what it looks
The
like.
font's
the-
different too.
I like the paperback more so much
Mm.
that I'm gonna order it
Katie.
and probably give this to a friend eventually.
I'm telling
Katie's
you,
a
I
collector.
talked to my sister about this.
Wait, what was the page?
Y'all need
What
to
page
read.
did you say? 206? Or what did it
206.
start with?
Read 206. Do not read 207. So 206 ends with death isn't just coming for me, it's here.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
All
shit.
these like mysterious
Endings,
endings.
I know.
I'm like looking at it like this because I keep like reading phrases and I'm like, stop.
It's right there, yeah. So once you hit death and it's here, stop.
So
Okay.
don't read The Wind Howls.
Don't read The Wind Howls.
Don't read
Oh my
207.
gosh, I kept reading. Stop. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to read this book, but I'm gonna make myself wait so I could remember like in time for next book club because if not, sometimes I forget some of the things I want to say.
Yeah,
I
it's
just ordered the paperback.
Happy
love
birthday to
it.
you,
I love
Katie.
it.
I really started on Friday with the intention of just like, oh, I'm just gonna start it, and I finished it. Like, I think it's a section. Like,
Yeah,
That's good.
I would have finished on Sunday, but I'm like, I have to go to sleep or I'm not gonna wake up. And I almost was like, no. I actually fell asleep reading it. But not because it's boring, it was just I'm tired.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's the next section. So we'll see you next Tuesday, the 8th, at 8:30.
Tea.
With your tea, if you want.
I kind of finished it. Whoops.
Time for more.
But I had already started it. I didn't eat the whole thing.
It's all good.
Okay. Well, I'll see you next week. Have a good weekend and a good
Mhm.
night.
Good night.
Night.
Right.